And he still
and then
did
he
it.
couldn't live without it.
Wow.
Literally.
Well, I think I notice a lot of like in the recovery rooms and stuff, it's a lot of people that they're missing something inside of them. And so they take on like, so they want to try and fill it up with something else.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time you spent with your brother?
I do. And he'd have periods where he'd get sick, very sick. And we thought we'd lose him or we lost him. Then he'd get better. And that happened 5 or 6 times. I mean, where you thought you lost him, and then he got better. And it was amazing. I mean, he was, a certain way, very strong in that sense. And I just tell people, it's so tragic. Don't drink. Just don't drink.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have a problem. Like even you, if you didn't drink, you would never, but you probably, maybe wouldn't be successful like you are. It's part of your story, right?
It's helped me a lot. Yeah. Because I don't know what would happen probably. I think it's just too risky.
It is risky.
What's something that you miss about him, or like that? Like what's something that you miss about him, Fred?
Well, he was wise in a sense. I mean, think of it. He's got this problem, and it was very important for him to convey to me not to have this problem. And I couldn't have been successful if I had that problem.
Yeah.
If I had that problem, and I think maybe I'm a personality type where I could have had the problem if I drank. But if you don't drink, you're never going to have it. I mean, I don't miss when I see somebody light up a cigarette and just they're in heaven. I don't miss that at all.
It's weird. It's so it's very Native American too.
Isn't it crazy?
It's bizarre. And I think sometimes our older brothers, they kind of like they take the speed bumps for us, like as younger brothers, so that we don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Does that you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
my brother went through a lot of stuff so that I didn't have to go through it, and then I get to see him and learn.
Is he okay now?
Yeah, he's doing great now. But it's like. Yeah, that's one of the blessings, I think, of having an older brother.
Well, you can learn through history, too, even if it's not a brother. It's by watching other people. I mean, you can see if you have a friend who's an alcoholic, or even just by reading about people, you can learn.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a brother, but in this case, it was very personal. It was a brother, and I learned not to drink, and I learned not to smoke cigarettes. Now, I don't know that I would have smoked cigarettes. I probably would have drank. I think, there's no reason not to drink. But I had a reason because he told me, just
that was it.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of a blessing then, huh?
Yeah.
And where did you guys ever do anything fun together? Like one nice memory that you have with him?
He had a great talent for flying. He was a pilot.
Oh, sweet.
And he loved it. And
did you ever fly with him?
I did. I flew with him. He was a great pilot and very talented. Other pilots would come to his house to...
Why is Theo so anti-corporate, anti-billionaire, but a Trump dick rider who inhales his bullshit with a smile? I mean, that's like, he's a normie, Like in his mind, he's like, I'm interviewing a former president. I think a lot of people just like don't contextualize it in that same way. It's kind of like, I mean, I'm anti-corporate, anti-billionaire, but I like JB Pritzker. You know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? And he's also like charming to him. He's just doing like a regular interview. He's having like a normal conversation. I don't think he has like any sort of political ambitions or aspirations here. Like he's not trying to get something out of him. He's not trying to have like a gotcha or anything like that. It's because he's kind of stupid. He'd admit to being kind of dumb too because he's aware. Yeah. And also, I think overall, like, I mean, he had that point in the Bernie interview too. Like, he had that point in the Bernie interview as well, where he was like, you and Trump, like, you were the anti-establishment candidates, like, or something like that. He was like, you were the outsiders, right? And like, he said that. Like, he said that in that interview. He's like, oh, I wanted you and Trump to run together. Like. Like that's it. That's it. Like that's literally it. What you see is what you get. I don't think there's like any sort of cynical reason. He's not like, yeah, I'm gonna go and make Trump look like more of a human dude. Like I don't think he's operating like that. Dude, I'm kind of sick of everyone giving Theo this he's so dumb pass. He's not a child. I mean, okay, but Theo's a college grad. He ain't dumb. There are plenty of people who graduated from college that are definitely very dumb. Okay. Yes, this is a perfect way to explain it. He's unaware of the implications of having a political figure on his show. He isn't trying to be confrontational or glaze him up. He just thinks it would be cool to have a former president on a show. That's it. People don't like when Trump is humanized because it's a reminder that someone who's gone through hardships could turn into someone like Trump, but it's important to show people how they could go wrong. Bro, Theo plays up a character. I don't know how y'all are so fooled by this. He's 44 years old, multiple college attended. He understands what he's doing. It's a bit. I don't think so. Like, I think he's a genuinely curious person. As far as what I've seen, I think he's just like a actually curious person who doesn't think much. I think you guys are I think you guys are like placing a lot of emphasis on like, one, a college education that like immediately spells that you're an intelligent human being, which is far from the truth. Okay. Two, I think that you also don't realize that even people who vote, okay, even people who fucking vote, even people who vote for either party or whatever, don't necessarily have a lot of opinions beyond like, oh yeah, I just kind of voted. Like, most people don't think about this the way that you do. Okay. You need to understand that most people do not think about stuff like this the way that you do. We're fucking nerds, chat. That's why I'm always pleasantly surprised when I see someone in the wild who does have maybe not like the same interest that I do, but at least like, even if they don't have the theory, right? Their heart is in the right place. Like, I get excited when I see that. Like, even if someone doesn't have the best way of communicating, like a leftist worldview or whatever, oftentimes if they're and I'm not talking about Theo in this same way. I'm simply this is a sidestep from the conversation. But like, sometimes you'll meet someone who isn't like an out and about leftist, would never call themselves that way, right? They would never say they're a leftist. They wouldn't even say they're a liberal. But like, they'll say certain things, especially you see this a lot in working class backgrounds. Okay? Like, people that have actually seen and experienced poverty, right? Like, oftentimes they'll say certain things about their experiences with their bosses and whatnot, where you're like, oh, this dude gets it. You know what I mean? That's why I always have this belief that I stick to, that like, the average American is actually significantly more open-minded to progressive policies than the people that you see online. You know what I mean? The people that are chirping online, the people that are like supposedly very educated on this stuff. Does that make sense? Do you think it's one, because it's good content? Two, he's scared of alienating conservative viewers by only having Bernie on? No, I don't think he's making that calculation even. Dude, I'm telling you, it feels like he literally is just going, that's a former president, dude, and he's running for president. It'll be good content. And also, a lot of people will watch it. Would you say that most Americans are somewhat class conscious? Fuck no. It's actually class consciousness that is missing from the equation for Americans. They understand certain concepts, but they don't know how to conceptualize it, if that makes sense. No, Americans are some of the least class conscious motherfuckers on the planet, dude. Have you met Theo? Is he like this always? I've never met Theo Vaughn. He has a certain style and character he portrays on camera, but it's not a bit. It's weird how often people mix those two up. People tend to put on a show of sorts when they're in entertainment business.
Study with him.
Watch him fly.
And he was really talented at that, but ultimately he had to give that because of the alcohol.
I'm new to your community and new to you. Where are your viewpoints on Kamala and the DNC? I was holding out hope that Kamala Harris, because of a couple things that the Democratic Party did, was going to be leaning into a message of like truly helping the American working class. And unfortunately, I didn't really get that from the DNC. And it upset me for sure. I mean, we'll see where it goes. There's 71 days, but some of the high notes, especially like I placed a lot of emphasis on the speech that she delivered on the last night of the DNC, because we don't know how she is going to brand herself. We don't necessarily know what kind of policy she's going to run with. And unfortunately, it's been very devoid of policy in general so far. There's a couple things that they talked about. There's a couple things that she brought forward before the DNC that I liked. Price controls, which is like unimaginably popular, unimaginably popular. So I think that like those things are good. Those concepts are good, but like she's not really running on them. And it spells, for me at least, that this is an old school Democratic Party way of thinking where they run scared and they try to moderate their positions. I mean, I saw this poll, which is crazy. Support for capping increases on food and grocery prices. Support 65%, oppose 24%. And I joked, I said, oh man, the Chamber of Commerce is going to see this poll and roll out Chris Hardball Matthews one last time to talk about how Kamala will bring out the guillotines at Central Park. Like, I fear that, like, and this was a fear that I had with Bernie Sanders. Like, if I'll explain it in a couple different ways. One, I have this opinion that if Bernie Sanders were to actually make it to the general, we would have fully been able to figure out if you can actually run on super progressive campaigns and win incredible margins. Okay. So we never got to see that because the primary is like locked to the diehard loyalists of the Democratic Party for the most part. Most people don't participate even in the general election, but even less people participate in the primaries, right? Most people, when I was door knocking, didn't even know that a fucking primary was happening. They were pro Bernie, but they didn't even know the primary was happening. And for them, it's like going out, registering to vote, all this stuff. It's a difficult process. You don't get to truly understand that until you actually do it. And like canvassers will tell you, it's a fucking massive effort, right? And because of that, we never actually got to see, even if it wasn't Bernie, it doesn't matter. Like whoever it was, if they were, because Bernie's method was to activate the non-voters and the youth vote, right? But that was never going to happen in the primaries, and it demonstrably didn't happen in the primaries. And it's a major reason why Bernie Sanders lost the primaries, right? Like that was objectively a failure twice. Okay, not once, twice. First time, Bernie was very lucky and even got more popularity than he normally would have otherwise because he was running against an objectively unpopular candidate like Hillary Clinton. Second time around, like I said, it was a difficult endeavor. Okay, it was a very difficult endeavor. But I suspect that because there is obviously a lot more people paying attention to the general, I've always had this suspicion that if a candidate like Bernie was on the ballot in the general and was the Democratic Party's candidate, he would be like, he would do Ronald Reagan levels of popularity. Like you would actually be able to activate these non-voters for the general, because then they start actually taking notice of what's going on. Now, there's at least one example I can point to in that regard. Bra, he's 82. Guys, I'm not talking about this time around. I'm giving you an analysis of what went wrong with the Bernie primary campaign as in an effort to talk about something that's larger than the Bernie primary campaign. It doesn't matter that it's fucking Bernie Sanders. He's just one real life example that I'm using to explain to you what it looks like when someone runs on a fucking primary or when someone runs on a progressive message, and then whether or not they are able to activate the non-voters and the youth vote in general. Okay. That's it. Stop fucking talking about here's how Bernie could have won, or stop talking about how like Bernie was actually fucked over by the DNC and that's why he lost. Like, yeah, those are other factors. Okay. The DNC thing is a factor for sure. But like, I'm giving you the actual congratulations. You won emos and furries to your location. What the fuck? Anyway, the closest we ever got to like seeing what it would look like in a general election where you had like an actually outwardly progressive campaign was with Barack Obama in 2008. Okay. That was a progressive campaign and objectively one of the most popular candidates in modern history. Okay. So there is at least like one parallel that we can draw there in terms of like what it looks like when you run a progressive message campaign. Okay. Another issue, having said that, however, another issue that I always felt if Bernie were to run in the general, and this is something that I talked about quite a bit at that time, was how the media would treat him. Because there were already like, you know, Goldman Sachs CEOs and whatnot. They were writing op-ed pieces when it seemed like Bernie might win the primaries about how Trump would potentially be a better president than Bernie Sanders because he's a socialist and it's terrifying for corporate interests. So I was always fearful that even if Bernie got to the general, there was one other aspect of this equation that would probably cook his campaign or had the potential to cook his campaign. What was that? Media influence. Baba soslar geldi şu anda. Yo. Hayır. Çünkü sos yoktu. Ama şimdi bugün yine pişir ekmeği ve soslar da geldi. Because the media is still very powerful in terms of like creating narratives, in terms of like basically gumming up the works, like handicapping a campaign by consistently pumping out like certain kinds of messages, and it's basically free marketing, right? It's basically free marketing. It was endlessly successful with the Joe Biden victory in the primaries after South Carolina, which everybody knew he was going to win. There was around $1.6 billion of earned and free media that the Biden campaign got that played a big role in him clearing out Super Tuesday in states that he never even campaigned at. So for that reason, I've always been fearful that like, even if Bernie were to have somehow by some weird, some weird unforeseeable luck ever made it to the general, $1.3 billion in earned media. Earned media is a specific designation. Earned media is like, is basically like an ad that you are getting from the media. And it's more powerful than like paid media. And that $1.3 billion in earned media only happened over the course of like 2 days, by the way. That was an insane onslaught of positive messages. It's authentic. People do not read that as like an ad. Okay? So I was worried that if Bernie were to ever, by some weird luck, make it to the general election as the Democratic Party's candidate, I thought that the media would do everything it could possibly in its power to sully that process and to handily offer Trump a victory. This is a real fear that I always had. Now, why am I talking about Kamala? I mean, why am I talking about Bernie Sanders and all this shit? That's because The only fear that I have in terms of Kamala Harris running a progressive campaign and putting progressive policies forward in her campaign is the way that I fear the media would actually cook her on it. Okay? They've already briefly started doing it. Okay? This chatter says, clearer explanation of earned media. When there's a news story about you, it functions as an ad. Exactly. Every time she tries to propose progressive policy on stage, it's sold with deregulation and neoliberal solutions with progressive language. She's selling the whole building 3 million homes as just deregulation as an example. Every time we get actual plans for these policies, it's just neoliberal nonsense. Any excitement I had over her is going very rapidly every time she shows the actual plan to enact the policy. Yeah, so that is another side of this issue as well, but we're not going to get into that right now, okay? I'm talking about something a little different. So do you think Kamala would gain more support if she embraced Jill Stein level progressive policies? Do you think that Kamala should be leaning far left in policies to counter the Republican far right nonsense? It's not about far left or far right. I think that she should stick to more progressive policies. Hold on one second. Go grab my food. It's not about like far left. There's nothing far left about feeding children, okay? Or in the way that like Americans understand it. You have to communicate policies that are going to help people. Policies that are objectively popular. Okay? That's the situation. There are policies out there that are objectively popular that people pull pretty positively. Okay? Ultimately, people want to vote for someone that's going to give them things. It's understandable. That's the whole point of democracy. But liberals have deluded themselves into thinking, or liberal media has caused the base of support within the party to basically firmly commit to this idea that like politics is about just the Democrats winning or your party winning. Ugh. It's kind of crazy. So I believe that if a campaign, and we've never really tested it with the exception of 08 Obama, I believe that if a general race from the Democratic Party featured actual tangible ways in improving people's lives, okay? Actual tangible ways in which the Democratic Party would improve people's lives, and they actually committed to it and made people believe that they would do this, like they would follow through on these promises, that they would be endlessly successful. Can you stop saying objectively popular since popularity is a subjective thing? No, I won't stop saying objectively popular because when I say objectively popular, I'm talking about polling data, okay? I'm using it correctly. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, it's not, when I say something is popular objectively, I'm talking about it polls well. Popularity is not subjective in that regard. When something is polled, you're thinking of like popularity as like the cool kids at school or some shit. You're so fucking annoying with with the way that you're trying to correct me on something that you're wrong on objectively. Anyway, I'm a firm believer that a big chunk of the Democratic base of support would literally come on board with a lot of these policies that, like even those on Twitter keep saying, oh, we can't have this because it's unpopular. We can't have this because like people won't vote for the Dems. Independents won't vote for the Dems. I am a firm believer that if MSNBC kept saying Medicare for all is the fucking sexiest thing, it's a real winner. And if they repeated that over and over again, let's say in a world where they're not like completely fucking primed to be antagonistic to that sort of thing because of their ad dollars, the revenue that they're generating from the pharmaceutical industry and the healthcare industry. Okay. If they kept saying that over and over again, a lot of these people on Twitter would also be like, yeah, why isn't she pushing for that? What is happening? Why are so many people asking me if I'm a supporter of Jill Stein? Like, what the fuck is going on in the chat? Are y'all joking? Yeah. People are asking, people are doing the fucking, if you vote for her, she'll win, but for Jill Stein.
Oh, he had to give that up, which was a hard thing for him to do, but he had to give that up.
Election day is coming up on November 5th. Computer AI.
Like now. And
that's Aura-Theo, ORACLE.com/Theo. Yeah, it's crazy. That's the wildest thing to watch is people losing everything, you know?
Yeah, no, they lose everything. And many people. And in those days, it wasn't drugs. It wasn't like, don't drink, don't take drugs. I don't think drugs, I don't even know whether they're even a factor. They happened pretty long time ago, but I think in those days, I don't think were drugs a factor. You go back 25 years ago.
Not like it is now.
Well, certainly not like now. And
yeah, and that actually takes me into something else I wanted to talk about, like alcohol.
Like, I'm already annoyed with a lot of the liberals that are like, you're not just like lying about how much you love Kamala Harris because you don't understand the severity of a Trump re-election. I do. But I'm not going to lie. Regardless. But that's one aspect of this conversation. I'm already annoyed with all the liberals who are like, oh, Hasan is fucking hates Democrats. He's so stupid. He's so stupid. Blah, 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 blah. But then on the other side, now you got hella people being like, dude, what about Cornel West? What about Jill Stein? What about fucking the RFK guys are gone now? Or PSL. It's like, dude, vote for whoever you want, okay? Stop fucking bothering me.
And addiction is something that's really ramped up, even like you're saying, like in the past 20, 30 years in our country, right? And during the opioid epidemic, they estimate that like almost 600,000 people died.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even include the broken hearts and the deaths of families and circles of trust, all, just people that lost a brother. It doesn't even include the actual the siblings,
right?
Or, and so the ripple effect of that is huge. And there's that Sackler family that pretty much got away with it. They had a financial slap on the wrist.
This is why I was talking about Jill Stein, because there's a video on TYT's like 11th channel with 7,000 views from 3 days ago. That's why. Bro, there's 27,000 people in this chat. Like, what are you talking about, dude? You think...
But we're one of the only countries that allows drug advertisements and pharmaceutical companies to advertise on television. Like, what do you think are things that you can do to help curtail that when you get into office?
So, well, we did a great job. Does
that make sense or not?
When you get into office, bro, he was president.
Yes,
question.
it does make sense. And we had committees, blue ribbon committees in certain cases, but committees that would meet. The big problem we have is, fentanyl is probably the biggest. Opioid is bad. Opioid is bad too.
Yeah.
I think that's bad because everyone thinks, in many cases, they think they're going to do away with pain. And literally the time is so short. If you take it for like 2 weeks, you're almost addicted to it. It's incredible when you.
Oh, well, all of that is horrible. But why do we allow
How
that
did you get addicted? How did?
No, I would just do cocaine. That was really, yeah. So not just, yeah.
That's
it was
that's down and dirty, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it was, yeah.
But you don't anymore?
No, I don't do it anymore, man. And I'm not doing it.
Is it too much? Too much to handle?
Some of the stuff started to get a real rattle in it, too. I don't know where we were even getting it from in this country, but yeah, it started to make me feel like I was a mechanic or something.
So the thing you go back to then is alcohol for the most part.
Right. Yeah. But
I love that line. Started making me think like I was a mechanic or something.
want probably is cocaine, but I know that if I have a drink, then it'll be like, okay, well, I had a drink, then I can do this.
Is cocaine a stronger
Oh yeah.
up?
Yeah. Cocaine
So,
will make
you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll be out on your own porch, and you'll be your own street lamp. You're freaking.
And is that a good feeling?
No,
it's
horrible.
a miserable feeling.
But you do it anyway, just like the guy you're saying with the scotch. Like you knew it was bad, but you still.
So it's not even good during what would be normally the good time. In other words, oh wow. So why would you do it?
I wouldn't. That's why I don't.
Yeah, that's terrible.
But it's crazy because that's what alcoholism is. I think it's that it trumps the why.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and it just you don't. And you just go to. It's like, so that's why they say that it's cunning, baffling, and powerful. That's what they say about alcoholism.
Yeah.
And it is. It's
Which is a bigger problem in our country, would you say?
opioids.
Bigger than alcohol.
Oh, for sure.
Dog, you were the president of the United States of America. How the fuck did you not know? Like, alcohol is a massive problem. Alcohol is a massive problem. But, like, opioids are, like, alcohol is a massive problem because it's, like, readily available. Okay? Opioids are not as readily available. And even then, it's a massive killer. It's so funny because it's like this motherfucker only talks about opioids when he's talking about how Mexicans are bringing over the border. Like, it blows my mind. Like, how the fuck were you how the fuck do you say it at every rally? And there is not even a fucking curiosity behind those eyes where you were just like, let me look into this a little bit. Like, he literally has not looked into it at all. Like, that's actually shocking. That is actually shocking how fucking stupid Americans are. That they literally voted for and will vote again for a guy that is that dumb. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense that this dude literally is just like he's not even interested. Like, he's just saying shit, dude. He is just saying shit. Yeah, alcohol kills more people than opioids per year. Except, once again, alcohol is readily available and consumed by a much larger percentage of the population than opioids. So the per capita deaths, I think, the per capita deaths per opioid is like way fucking worse. in terms of consumption. I think he's just playing dumb to make Theo feel smart. No, dude. I think he just straight up doesn't fucking know. And also because his like brother died to alcohol. Like lethality rate, yeah. Doesn't that make alcohol worse? The absolute numbers matter in that case. No. Brother, we're talking about, no, per capita is obviously going to be, or the lethality rate is obviously going to be more significant because like, especially at mass consumption, I would say that like something that is so addictive and something that is so fucking addictive and something that's like a massive killer that there is no social usage of. Like with alcohol there is like a shit ton of people. With alcohol there is a shit ton of people that just drink it and don't become alcoholics. Okay? There are a lot of people that do. Okay? And that's why, and there's a lot of people that drunk drive and kill other people. Like there's a social phenomena associated with it as well. But opioids are so incredibly addictive and so incredibly fucking deadly. Most people who drink alcohol don't have a use disorder about it. Yeah. And I say this as someone who struggled, obviously, as you guys know. So, like, I'm telling you, it's not like there is a social consumption of alcohol that like many people engage in, many people partake in. Well, asking Trump about curtailing business. Holy fuck, Theo, bro, pivoted from the Sackler so hard. Yeah, he did.
I think that's one of the biggest problems.
And
like,
compare that to fentanyl.
Oh yeah, well that's the problem is people are making fake opioids because they can't afford real ones, or they're just getting them off the street and then they put fentanyl in them.
Yeah, fentanyl's like laced into everything now. It's horrible.
It's horrible. Yeah, they found some in a baby rattle somewhere. I think I don't even know where that was. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about was like, so there's like the big pharma lobbyists. Like there's 1,800 big pharma lobbyists in Washington D.C.
Yeah, you can't just like moderately be a social fentanyl user, chat. Like that's not a thing. Okay. What the fuck are we talking about? That's nuts. I know a few. Oh my God, bro. Sure.
Right.
There's only 535 total representatives or senators total. So just the fact that there's this whole other almost drug government that's there kind of pushing pushing agendas and influencing things. Like, how do we stop that, man? It just seems like it's obviously killing people. Like people are dying, it's like, what do we have to do that our own government won't help us?
He's going to talk about fucking immigrants bringing it over, I suspect.
Well, you have to stop listening to lobbyists. I was not a big person for lobbyists. And if they have even a little access to like a president or a senator or a congressman or woman,
they're snakes.
They get a lot of money.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they just take the money. They don't do anything. But you have a lot of lobbyists in Washington pushing, and certainly a lot for all of.
Dog, you literally made lobbyists, or even worse than Murad, you look too skinny, bro. That's crazy. Okay. Bro, he put lobbyists in charge of the agencies that are supposed to be regulating the industries that they were lobbying the government on. He put industry leaders. He sidestepped lobbyists in certain instances. Like Betsy DeVos is directly a fucking lobbyist. She was a secretary of education. She comes from a rich ass family who lobbied the fucking government. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, I hate lobbyists. He's currently lobbying the oil and gas industry, bro. I can't believe it. Trump will never do an interview that is not in a controlled environment or with a person who is fucking utterly oblivious to the reality. Like, did he really though? How do I find this? Look up every single agency appointment that Trump did. Literally, all of the top level officials. Lobbyists lobby the government on behalf of certain sectors and certain corporations. Trump literally cut across the lobbyists and just had industry leaders take over the role of the regulatory agencies. And beyond that, there were also obviously direct fucking lobbyists in the administration as well. That's one lobbyist for every 14 political appointees and 4 times more than Obama had appointed 6 years into office. It's fucking crazy that he's saying this. But of course, what the fuck does Theo Von know about this shit? Like, no disrespect to Theo Von, but he is so goddamn ill-equipped to have this convo. And that's precisely why the convo is happening. Like, you have to understand, like, Trump's not stupid. His team's not fucking dumb. They know he can have this convo and just like portray himself as in a certain light, maybe even humanize himself this way, and approach Theo Von's audience as like a totally separate being than he actually is. And that's what's happening here. Yeah, Rex Tillerson, former ExxonMobil CEO, is his Secretary of State. Trump's entire cabinet was fucking lobbyists and also corporate executives. I think that's why they get mad at Theo. People want him to be able to analyze, criticize, and communicate how crazy Trump is. Yeah, y'all are fucking delusional if you think that like he's gonna do that. Okay.
The things that we're talking about,
But they're
including
winning.
alcohol.
The lobbyists are winning, it feels
Yeah, they're
like.
winning. They're making a lot of money. Absolutely.
Can you stop that? Can a president?
Like, it's so crazy. This also, once again, speaks to how dumb the average American voter is. And it also speaks to the other side of the equation that I talk about quite frequently, which is that even the dumbest person that you know that goes out and votes or doesn't even vote has certain political opinions, and those political opinions are endlessly progressive. Like, people might be dumb, but they still, on a personal level, understand, like, man, it sure seems fucked up that these corporations that are like ruining people's lives are actually running the table and get to control different aspects of the government. Like, that's not good. Okay. You think most people want to trans the kids? Who is transing the kids, bro? What is a transing the kid? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dumbass? You watch too many fucking YouTube videos, bro. Shut the fuck up. Shut your stupid ass up, bro. Adults are talking, okay? You fucking freak. God damn, dude. Transing the kids. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Who's doing that? Why do we have to sit here and have a conversation with your fucking paranoid hallucinations, man? And the worst part about it is there's enough people in the fucking country that also share those same delusions. It's like a collective hysteria. So now we have to deal with it. That's what's crazy about this situation is like, dumb motherfuckers literally are like, well, sorry, I'm an American, and there's a lot of other dumbasses like me that believe this thing. So now you got to actually address it. It's like fucking flat earthers, dude. It's like, imagine if they were just like constantly, if there was enough people in the country that genuinely believe the earth is flat, and now you just have to deal with it all the time. You have to like actually address it. And they just have no idea they've been fucking brainwashed, bro. What are you talking about? Transing the kids. Like, that's not a thing, dog. You just are trans, okay? It's the same as being gay. You just are gay. You don't like turn gay. Okay? Shit pisses me off. The people are just so stupid about it. God damn.
Didn't stop that. Like, how do we stop that?
Well, one way you could stop it is to say if you're going to go into government, you can never be a lobbyist. In many cases, they have rules and regulations where you can't do it for 4 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever.
You mean be a lobbyist after you were an elected official?
I mean, you could
Is that what you're saying?
You could say that if you're an elected official or if you work in government, you can never be a lobbyist. You have people that work in government and they give out contracts to the military, and then they leave and they work for the people that they're giving out contracts to.
That's exactly what happened with the Sackler family, with the drug companies. They hired people that were on the FDA to work for them so they could loophole the laws.
Yeah.
Or, you know. But can we outlaw lobbyists, or we can't do that?
Well, there's a whole constitutional thing there. I mean, can you make somebody never, ever go into the business if you work for government?
Theo knows this, so he's not stupid. It's intentional. Dog. Dog. You need to understand something, okay? You can be a dumb person that knows that. Like, that doesn't mean he's like super well read, okay? Half of the shit he just said that sounds super smart to you, literally in the last 3 minutes at the top of the hour when there's a 3-minute ad break, was shit that he learned about from Bernie Sanders last week, which we watched. And if you were subscribed back then, you probably saw that shit uninterrupted. There were no ads being served. For you, I mean. If you no longer want to see those ads at the top of the fucking hour, that's what you got to do. You got to subscribe. No, you don't get it, man. Logan Paul and Theo Vaughn are both in on it. I'm willing to bet Logan Paul has more like political ambitions, regardless of his like level of intelligence, than fucking Theo Vaughn does, in my opinion. Like, Scarnarv, thank you for the 5 tier 1 gift to subs. Like, it honestly feels like Theo Vaughn is the type of dude you could like convince not to be transphobic in like a 5-minute conversation. Because he has something that I think many people miss, which is like genuine curiosity and a willingness to learn and charitability. But don't forget that you are talking to a motherfucker who literally told Bernard Jebediah Sanders that he would have loved to see him on the same ticket as Donald Trump. Okay? You're fucking crazy if you think he's like some secret political demon and he's like, yeah, he's actually trying to make sure that he humanizes Trump to his audience. Like, no, he's just fucking, he's like, yeah, he's a former president, dude. That's what he would say.
And especially if you're giving out contracts. In other words, you're a powerful person within some industry. The Navy, the Army, anything. It could be military procurement, etc. There's a whole thing like, there's a whole question as to you give out a contract and then all of a sudden you're working for the person you gave out the contract to, or the company that you gave out the contract to.
Right. It's like you're playing both sides of the net.
Well, it's obviously a problem, and it's a big problem, and we were doing things about it, but then we had to get down to other business. We had to solve we had a lot of problems with this country. A lot of problems.
It's pretty clear that the establishment doesn't like you, I would say. What do you think?
Well, I think the people like me.
Oh, yeah, the
because
people.
We're leading now in all the polls. We're leading, and Rasmussen just came out a little while. Rasmussen's a very highly regarded poller. We're leading by 5 points. Rasmussen poll, and others also, and we're doing well. But I think the people like me a lot. You know,
Like you think he knows that? Like you think he knows Rasmussen is a fucking right-wing pollster, and they're just like so fucking biased and wrong? No, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know shit. He's like, oh, Rasputin, like the Russian guy. Like, that's what he's about to say, bro.
Won, and then we did.
No doubt.
So we won in 2016, and then we did much better in 2020. Much better. Got millions and millions more votes. And
why does the establishment keep trying to sink you? Like, what is it that they are so afraid of?
Well, in some cases, the things we're talking about right now, they want to sell product that I'm not interested in. They want to have certain boats and certain chips and certain planes and certain everything bought. Pharma is another one that's, interesting.
Or do they push back against you think?
Yeah, I think they do. Well, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that they do. In one way, that's a positive thing politically, because when you can show that they push back, the voters seem to like it. But we have a lot of popularity. We have a lot of people that want to see me come back and win, because we had a great time. We had the greatest economy in history when I was president. We had
my cousin got a boat.
Numbers. Yeah, we had the best job numbers. African American.
Bro, come on, dog. He said, hell yeah, my cousin got a boat. My cousin got a boat during your presidency. How does he not know why people hate this liar? Because he's a comedian in Joe Rogan's orbit. So I suspect a lot of the people that is like around him are either people that have similar opinions to myself, like Stavros, who don't like necessarily give a shit and also make jokes about Donald Trump, or are people who are just like super far right or right wing. That's what it is. Like, that's literally what it is. These people are, he knows and is trolling his ass? I don't think so.
Hispanic American, if you look.
Really?
Asian American, job numbers, women, men, everybody. We did a lot of good things. We cut taxes more than anybody else, including Ronald Reagan. We cut regulations, which created jobs. We had a great period of time, and I think the people want it back. Based on what I'm seeing, the people want it back.
One thing that you did, recently we had Bernie Sanders on.
Right.
And
interesting.
And I know.
That's very interesting.
Certainly, you guys don't agree on a lot of things, but I think you both acknowledge how horribly rigged the healthcare system is against the American people.
Dog, he was the president, and he actively ran on shutting off Obamacare, like the Affordable Care Act, and even succeeded in eliminating one of the funding mechanisms of Obamacare. Like, that was one of his main policies, dog. Theo knows is a trap. Dude, there ain't no way Theo's here trying to get him with a fucking gotcha, okay? Let's see.
Because hospitals and insurance companies get away with hiding their prices from all of us, and literally they...
No, he's talking about price. Yeah, he's talking about price transparency. That's a Trump policy. That's the dumbest way to try and fucking deal with this problem.
Can charge whatever they want. You know, it's like you sign up and say, yes, I'll pay. You trust the hospital, but then you get home and the bill is.
Dog, you want to know how fucking stupid price transparency for hospitals is? It's like the dumbest idea that libertarians have cooked up. Okay. Let's say you broke your fucking leg. Okay. Let's say you broke your fucking leg. At what point are you going to be like, hold on, let me pull out my goddamn phone and look at the fucking Yelp reviews and the different prices for the 11 different private ambulance companies. And also, let me look at the fucking phone to figure out which hospital is actually treating my broken leg at a cheaper price point. That's not how healthcare works. Like, it's so fucking stupid. There are massive hospital monopolies as well. In PA, all hospitals are owned by only a few organizations, a cartel. Exactly. You talk about being compassionate, but you aren't giving Theo the benefit of the doubt. This is him trying to make a difference. No, I know, dog. I know. Or lady, listen. I am giving him the benefit of the doubt. That's why I defended him when chatters were saying he's actually secretly a political assassin in the pocket for Donald Trump, trying to fucking humanize him deliberately. Okay? That's why I said, no, that's not the case. Okay? The two genders, dog or lady. Yeah, we got dogs in here. Bernie mentions the exact thing to Theo too. When you're diagnosed with a major illness or you have a critical injury, price options aren't really going to help you.
It's whatever, you know, which pretty much feels like some form of extortion to me. That's what it seems like to me.
It's a form. Yeah.
But you had an executive order where you created a federal rule forcing hospitals and insurers to publish all their prices.
Yep.
Right? So that people would be able to know, okay, if an MRI costs $600.
This is a guy, someone in his team literally gave him bullet points and was like, yo, this is how you'll sound smart, dude. Bring up price transparency, dude. That's also a Trump policy, dude. I swear, dog. I swear, dude. You come across genius. That guy's name is also Theo. Yeah, they sound exactly the same. And they're also named Theo, his producer. Price transparency is so fucking stupid. What a stupid, silly, like non-fix to a problem. And then people will cynically turn around and go, Hasan, don't you think it's better to at least know what price you're paying? It's like, sure, but if you think that that is going to change the dynamic of how fucked American healthcare is, you are the dumbest person on the fucking planet. That's the problem, though. A lot of Americans don't think about it like that. They don't think about like the actual reasons as to why this is like being put forward as a piece of legislation. And it's not exclusive to the Republican Party defending the Republican agenda, okay? It is the Democratic Party and its most loyal soldiers as well. Straight up. That's precisely why so many people in this chat fucking chirp at me as well, where they're like, well, Hasan, you want Trump to win. You want Republicans to win. Like, don't you think it's better to just have an Affordable Care Act and not have it at all? Yes, of course. But you know what's even better? Fucking socialized medicine, which is what the entirety of the developed and also developing nations have at this fucking point. We're like one of the only countries that doesn't have it. Oh. It makes me so mad that people are just so incredibly cucked and they think that like their cucked position is actually somehow more intellectual than someone like myself who only broaches subject matters with surface level observations. Hasan is not smart enough to understand, like I am, the cost of doing business. Hasan is not smart enough to understand that, like, these insurance companies have to exist in the way that they do. There is no other alternative. I am a brilliant thinker. It's like, dog, we are unique on the planet, okay? We are literally unique in the developed world. We are even fucking unique in developing nations. In comparison to developing nations and developed nations, we are the exception, not the rule, in terms of like the way we deal with healthcare. You just are brain broken by Reddit and Twitter, where a bunch of like corporate backed think tanks have created these papers that you read, or at least you like act like you read, and you just like repeat the fucking high level observations that they put in front of you to come across like you're the smart guy in this conversation. Hillary Clinton did it too. She was like, oh, well, what else? You want healthcare, free healthcare? What's next? You want a pony? What a fucking ridiculous way to run a campaign.
$100 here and it's $5,000 there, then I can go here and save myself money.
Right.
But that hasn't even been enforced. Like hospitals,
Biden got away with it.
hospitals and insurance companies, they're still not showing their prices.
They hated it.
Of course they did.
And because it would have made it very competitive. And Biden let it go. He never enforced it. And to get that approved was a big deal.
Yeah, dude,
And
it was
that
an
would have brought down
objectively
the
stupid
price
fucking
of-
idea, okay?
Oh, so many things.
Not only, just care, right? Care, physical care, mental care. That would have brought down the cost of care by 50, 60%. And Biden and Kamala didn't press it. It was a big thing to get it, but I'll be pressing it. And because I'll be pressing it, yeah. And because I'll be pressing it.
Also, that's a lie. But what's really funny about hospital pricing is that, like, maybe some people don't know this, but you remember how we talked about dynamic pricing? Chat might remember when I was talking about like the McDonald's app or Uber, and how Uber has dynamic pricing, like surge pricing and shit. But also beyond that, even if you had two separate phones, one guy was a wealthier guy, the other guy was a poorer guy, from the same exact location, if you called to Uber, Uber would literally show the poorer guy cheaper options. Like the same ride, Uber would actually serve to them in a cheaper way. That's called dynamic pricing, okay? It exists already. It's existed in hospitals for a very long time. Dynamic pricing is exactly how hospitals do pricing, okay? That's how they do it. If you have the capacity to pay, they'll cook you. They'll hit you with a fucking... They'll hit you with like those Hall's cough drops that are normally like 30 cents a pop. You'll have to pay $37 for it. You're like, what the fuck is this? You look at the receipt. You're like, how the hell did this happen? Well, that's because the insurance company is not interested in making it cheaper. The insurance company is simply interested in offsetting as much as the cost and making you pay for as much of the cost as possible. They don't give a fuck about making this shit cheaper. They're just an expensive middleman. Yeah. Yeah, if you're poor but have very good health insurance and you get hit with a bill, it's like $80K, but they negotiate it down to $8K.
There are some people that are vehemently against it for financial reasons, for money reasons. But
Those people can go to hell, dude. That's insane.
Yeah, no, they're bad people.
Especially because one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in America is medical debt. I mean, that's crazy.
Pretty
and I don't even think I made that up either.
No, it's when you think of it. At first, when you said it, I said, "Wow," and then I'm thinking about it. I said, "It's really not a wow." I understand it.
Yeah.
Tremendous lobby.
There ain't no way Big Dog, who used to be the former president of the United States of America, didn't fucking know and just learned from fucking Theo Vaughn. Please stop. There is just no, why are you even admitting? Like, what is going on, dude? Like, you know, and someone is going to fucking send me like a tweet or a video from a long time ago where, as a gotcha, to be like, well, see, he mentioned it here. No, dude. Even if he did mention it, he just doesn't know. He like has not internalized this information. He has not held on to this information. People just put scripts in front of him and he fucking reads it, dude. That's it. That's it. He does not give a fuck. And he does not even remotely care. He's like, wow. Wow. Medical bankruptcy is like the #1 cause. Wow. Dude, you were the president. Like, listen, I don't like Obama. Okay? But there is no world where you could catch Obama slipping like this. Like, there's just not a planet. Like, we are in a separate planet. I don't think you can fucking catch Joe Biden slipping this hard. And his brain is not even working. I genuinely have forgotten because like I don't really watch Trump behave in a unrestricted environment like this. So so like he's too free for his own good here, you know? My favorite Palestinian book talker had a really great take about your running with Harry Daniels and the implications of all the influences of the DNC. Well, all right, we're not going to watch that right now. Bro, you're not even making sense for real? What do you mean? What did I say that didn't make sense? Dog, I'm just saying, it's fucking crazy to me that the former president is like objectively shocked. Okay. Objectively confused and shocked and perplexed. And is acting like this is the first time he heard about like a phenomena that is truly unique, uniquely bad in the Western world, in the developed world, to the United States of America. A concept called medical bankruptcy.
I'll be tremendous power. Really
Like,
not,
look,
when you think of it,
bankruptcy,
bad people.
especially because one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in America is medical debt. I mean, that's crazy.
Wow.
It's pretty
And I don't even
crazy.
think I made that up either.
No, it's when you think of it, at first when you said it, I said, wow. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm saying, it's really.
Like that's, bro, this is new information. He has been presented with new information. You were the president, dude. Oh, look, you called it. Yeah, Trump told his nephew to let his disabled son die, then move to Florida, book says. Yeah, I don't fucking care about this shit, dude. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he knows it's expensive. Healthcare is expensive. I know he knows that. It honestly just shocks me that he is just like, I'm a little shocked. I'm shocked and I'm maybe a little mad at myself for like forgetting how fucking stupid he is. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Where it's like frustrating that I forgot that like a person who was the former president can be like this checked out of the process. Like I cannot think of a single fucking former president that is still currently alive Like Jimmy Carter, if you could catch him in a good moment, he's a carcass at this point. But like even he would be like, no, I know that. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, like George Bush would know what the fuck is up. Yes, George W. Bush would be even like, this is entry level stuff, chat. Like it's not. This isn't like, you know, you don't have to be brilliant to know about this stuff. Okay, you chatters, you know about all this shit. You don't have the same level of information the fucking president's supposed to have. Wait. The beginning of this interview has us thinking he was a genuine guy. It didn't take for it long to ruin us. Dude, are you kidding me? There's not a single soul in this chat that will vote for Donald Trump. Of course, we are interpreting this very differently. The average person that doesn't know that is not going to pick up on the fact that it's wild that a former president is oblivious to the reality that the fucking in the American nation, the leading cause of bankruptcies is medical bankruptcies, like medical bills. The average person is just currently thinking about how sick it is that Donald Trump is going to fucking kill lobbyists or whatever the fuck they're fantasizing about.
Not a wow. I understand it.
Yeah.
Tremendous lobby, tremendous powerful lobby.
Well, yeah, because I mean, think about what else is going to put you in medical, like in that much of a debt. It's like, I believe that that's accurate. Who's behind the healthcare insurance, that whole thing? Like, who's behind it all? It feels like Chuck Schumer is this kind of like deviant mastermind back there somewhere.
Well, he's one of the people that is hurt, and he's one of the people that keeps the price.
Oh my God, bro. Oh my God, bro. What are you saying? I mean, he sucks. And this is the worst. Okay. This is the worst part about the Democratic Party. Okay. This is the worst part about the Democratic Party is that because across the board, they're also the same exact level of shills for the corporate autocracy that we exist under. That like when Theo Vaughn says like Chuck Schumer, dude, seems like he's always scheming. You know, he's got his hands like this. like I know chat's like geared in on the anti-Semitic the subtle anti-Semitism there, okay? But like in theory, he's not even fucking wrong. Chuck Schumer isn't like a big healthcare dude. Every American politician, unless they have told you otherwise, is absolutely deeply vested in the continuation of private healthcare. Okay? Like, it's not, you could fucking toss a rock in that hall and you're going to hit someone on accident that is pro big pharma, pro healthcare, pro private healthcare, anti Medicare for all. Sometimes there are those who even tell you the exact opposite. They tell you that they like Medicare for all, but they're not actually for Medicare for all. There are a handful of American politicians who are genuinely invested in pushing for a ceasefire in Israel and delivering you healthcare or free college or any number of different fucking things. Here's every Republican senator who opposed the healthcare bill. Yeah, but like Democrats also fucking oppose it. The difference is when they pushed for it and Kamala Harris was one of the Dems who was on board with this, like, you have to remember, they did that knowing full well that Trump was the president. Even Big Greg is anti-M4A, I know. But that's because she's like related to a pharmaceutical executive, right? Focusing on Chuck Schumer is like saying an unhealthy diet gave you cancer when you worked in a Teflon factory your whole life. No, not necessarily. Chuck Schumer is literally the fucking... What are you talking about, dude? Chuck Schumer is the leader of the Democratic Party in the Senate. Like, what? Like, yeah, he's Jewish, but... Her dad was Blue Cross Blue Shield CEO, and her money came from Harvey Weinstein's crew in Hollywood and health insurance lobbyists when she first ran for governor. Yeah. Chuck Schumer, passing Obamacare in 2010 was a mistake. Chuck Schumer upbraided his own party Tuesday for pushing the Affordable Care Act through Congress in 2010. Schumer emphasized during a speech at the National Press Club that he supports the law and its policies are will and continue to be positive changes. He argued that the Democrats acted wrongly in using their new mandate in the 2008 election to focus on the issue rather than the economy at the height of the terrible recession. Bro, I'm serious. It really pisses me off how fucking bad politicians are at politics. Yeah, Blue Cross execs helped Whitmer raise cash for governor run. Yeah, there you go. That's how you know she's anti-M4A, okay? Like, it's just nutty how fucking objectively bad American politicians are. Like, they are directly antagonistic. They are directly antagonistic to the well-being of American citizens. I don't know. Why? Oh, you want to do garage shit? I don't know where my fucking keys are at, bro.
Price is high, and he's, gets a lot of contributions from the people on the other side. And him and plenty of other people, a lot of people. It's a very powerful lobby.
But wouldn't they? Why do
the
they
most
want
powerful
people?
lobby? The lawyer lobby.
That's the
that feeds into that also. It all feeds into it.
Wait, hold on, just so I understand, Donald. Sorry. So that lobby is a very powerful one.
Yeah.
But why do those people want people to suffer though? Just so they can make money?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it really has to do with money.
That's crazy. How much money do they
probably
need?
start off by saying this is terrible, and then they eventually say, well.
But can we just as a country say, hey, how much? Okay, you need $3 million. We'll give you that. Fuck off.
Yeah.
We want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like, can't we make a deal with those people?
They're very tough to deal with.
This is why I hate when liberals are like, bro, Americans are not progressive. Think about the moderates. It's actually the moderates that the Democratic Party needs to captivate. It's like, bro, you have two dudes. You have a dude who's like the most apolitical medium voter ass motherfucker you can get, who is surrounded by right wingers in his profession, literally having these opinions. Isn't that weird? Doesn't that kind of make you see the reality that like most Americans are probably a little bit more progressive in terms of like individual policies? Like, they might not like the Democratic Party. They might think liberals are pussies. But like the average country bumpkin like Theo Vaughn, who obviously is no longer as much of a country bumpkin as he used to be, obviously, because he's fucking in Hollywood and shit. But like, still, don't you fucking think that like the average American, like if you talk to them, they're probably going to be on board with a lot of this shit? This is how every motherfucker from the South is, but no one wants to acknowledge it. Yeah. That's why I get so frustrated with polling on issues, especially polling on issues that are like untested. There's no counter narrative associated with the issue, and it's just a narrative backed by Republican hysteria. And then people just like run the table, and the Democrats run scared, and then they sedate their fucking liberal audience, their liberal team, into believing that like they have to do these moderate positions. And liberals eat this shit up. I hate when people pretend like most people in the South aren't just like pretty bad people with stupid beliefs that are generally borderline, if not fully fascist. Dude, I hate when there's only two different types of people that have this issue, have this kind of opinion, okay? A, dumbass liberals who grew up in fucking like liberal enclaves their whole lives, okay? Or B, dumbass liberals who grew up in a fucking deep red district, okay? And their parents were super fucking homophobic to them. So then they developed this like sensibility that every single person is just like their immediate friend circle that bullied them for being gay or some shit. Okay? Like, that's a ridiculous fucking assessment, dude. You just said the entire South is like full of fascists. First of all, where the fuck do you think black people live in America? Okay? Number one, I know your ass is a liberal, so let me fucking use terminology that'll make you feel bad, okay? Like, half the shit you say about the South, you're just saying about black people, okay? This is something that people don't understand. Black people are not represented in the political equation in that way because they live in deep red areas, okay? They live in fucking deep red districts and they're redistricted out of the fucking political equation. But you can't be talking like this. It is a ridiculous way to approach the subject matter, chatter. All right, damn. No, it's like crazy. Come on. I hate this shit. Most people are just fucking normal. They're deluded. Like, all of the events that unfolded for you to develop the opinions that you develop, half of that shit was luck. The other half was genuine curiosity. Okay? You can't just like write off people. It's social conditioning that causes them to fucking be like this. There's hella fucking Southerners in this goddamn chat. Like, it's ridiculous to fucking say, oh, all of them are fucking fascists. Like, no, they're not. They're just people with the same exact fucking class interest that you have. Some of them just don't recognize it. It's especially frustrating because it's like, it's this idea that like America is like inherently hostile to so many of these ideas, like inherently hostile to so much like progressive policy, when they're not. No one just pushes for it. No one pushes for it earnestly. Yeah, never forget, Bernie Sanders won Oklahoma. Okay? Y'all are crazy. Blanket disrespect is only permissible to Britons. Yes, exactly. It's so funny because, like, I make a lot of jokes about every country, and I spend a whole lot of time making jokes about myself, right? White guy from America, I make fun of white guys, and I make fun of America quite a bit. And people take it so fucking seriously. Like, sometimes I'll see a comment where I'm like, damn, dude, like, this person genuinely thinks I hate, like, every person from the fucking nation of France. No, it's just the British, okay? Calm down. But yeah, ultimately, it's just like, it's all jokes, man. I'm not being fucking serious. Okay? It's always the same shit. It's always the same shit. When I'm making fun of a group of people, I'm making fun of their hogs, okay? Never forget the universality of hogs. That's it.
And they've been taken care of by drug companies and others for years. You know, you have politicians that have been for years being taken care of by people that make a lot of money and they want to keep making a lot of money. And it is, I mean, in that case, it's not a power thing, it's a money thing.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
What are some of the other lobbies that are out there that we don't even know about?
Well, the most powerful lobby is the lawyer lobby, I would say. The teacher's lobby is important or powerful. Sometimes really.
Yeah, it's the lawyer lobby and the teacher lobby. Lawyer lobby is such an old school fucking Republican grievance. I'm just shocked that he's bringing that up. Like, that's kind of crazy that he's talking about the lawyer lobby. Like, that literally is the oldest Republican grievance. Like, when I talk about like tort reform and shit, like that's like 90s Republican shit. But obviously teachers lobby, oh, they're terrible. They're terrible. They're terrible. They're terrible. That is like a classic thing that these demons always fucking talk about. And I think it works really well for the Republican base of support because, like, I'm sorry, some of these fucking Republicans are dumb as shit. Okay? Maybe they weren't paying a lot of attention in school. Okay? Maybe they don't like their teachers. So it works well for them. All right? It's crazy. So the teachers lobby, they're evil. Okay, when I said some and talking about Republicans, I was being nice. Okay, yes, all.
To the detriment of everybody. But the most powerful lobby is probably the lawyers. Who would think that, right? But they have, that's why if you wanted to get rid of court cases and cut down litigation costs, which in this country is out of control, loser
It's
pays.
crazy.
What you do is you go loser pays. In other words, the loser of a lawsuit has to pay for the other side, has to pay back all the money the other side spent.
You think that would solve it?
Yeah, it would get rid of 75, 80% of the litigation. We are a very litigious country.
It's on everything's under. It's all bureaucratic. It's all dirty.
Yeah, dude. The average American has a lot of opinions on this. Yeah. Such sound populism from Donald Trump. Loser pays is so crazy because, like, much like everything else, American politics, American existence, capitalist. So everything is fucking pay to play. So if you want to win a court case or if you want to win an election, the money side is going to come out more successful in the overwhelming majority of instances, right? What do you mean pay? What do you mean loser pays? He's always eating, the motherfucker, says my dad walking by while listening to your broadcast. Bro, how is it that there are people who just only catch me in the same time frame, my anabolic window, okay? How is it? Like, it blows my mind. There's just some people who only see me in between 2 p.m. and like 4 p.m. because that is the window of time that I eat at every day, okay? Sometimes it's after 3, sometimes it's before 3. It's crazy.
Dirty paperwork. It's a bunch of rigmarole.
Well, if that would happen, you'd get rid of a lot of it. But the lawyers are opposed to it. It probably will not happen no matter what, because obviously the lawyers want to sue everybody.
What would have to happen? The Supreme Court would have to vote on something to make it happen?
I don't know. I think that it maybe would have to go before the Supreme Court. But the most powerful lobby is that lobby. And if you wanted to get rid of litigation, if you went, and Europe has it, a lot of places have it in different countries where loser pays. If you sue somebody and you lose, you have to pay the costs of the other side.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think.
And what happens is people don't sue. It's a tremendous difference. But this country, the lawyers are very much opposed to it in this country. It's too bad.
Yeah, man, it's just pretty heartbreaking, I feel like.
Like, I don't care. I don't care about this enough. I don't care about like loser pays litigation changes. I don't. And I don't think the average American does either. But it's kind of funny when he's like, they do it in Europe. You know what else they do in Europe? Fucking socialized medicine, dude. How about we do that? Oh, no, because that is not interesting, because that goes against the fucking corporate lobbyists that you were talking about. That goes against the corporations that you were talking about that are so powerful, so powerful. It would end up helping every American. So we can't have that. Oh, no, we can't have that. God, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I hate this fucking, I hate all of the back and forth that I engage in on like these issues on a regular fucking basis. It's like we have dulled ourselves. We have basically bludgeoned ourselves into believing that a better future is not possible. Okay. Like nothing. And I'm not talking about a single fucking thing that is radical. Okay.
Like, there was a rumor that you almost had RFK Jr. as a potential vice president.
No.
Okay. Just a rumor.
Yeah,
And
no,
did
I like him. I've always liked him. But
yeah, I like him too. He's
Yeah.
Bobby and I are friends. He's
Yeah,
a friend of
okay.
mine. I've known
No,
him for
he's a
years.
good man.
Yeah.
He's in there pitching. It's tough. It's a two-party system, and he's a third party. You know, it's a tough thing. He can't get registered now in New York. I see New York, and the Democrats have really opposed him vehemently. I haven't, but the Democrats.
What? Bro. You literally secured his endorsement. What are you talking about? You're not opposed to him running. You literally secured his endorsement so he would get off the ballots because you literally secured his endorsement because you wanted to get him off the ballot because he was eating away at your base. Bro, how can you say Theo doesn't know what he's doing when he's hyping up RFK Jr.? Wait, what? You think hyping up the fucking guy who was polling at like 6% in his best races, who's most notable to the average person for having fucking brain worms, is an actual clear-cut indication that Theo Von is a political mastermind? I hope you're joking, right? Like this is a meme, right? Like you were actually on my side on this one.
Democrats
Like,
have
there's no
really
way.
opposed him.
So you think he should be allowed to run everywhere?
Well, the laws don't allow that.
Okay.
And the laws don't allow, unless you have 15 or 20%, whatever it is, they don't allow you to debate. You don't have to debate, so you can't get on the stage. You can't. And the debates are very important. I mean, I had a debate with Joe Biden.
Oh yeah, I
and
saw
that was
it.
a very meaningful, that was a very consequential debate, to put it mildly.
Well, yeah, they took the hand out of the puppet after that.
Well, they wanted to debate. They gave me everything that I didn't want, CNN, and then they gave me Dana Bash and Jake Tapper. Now, remember this, they were very straight during that debate. I gained a certain respect because Jake Tapper, who I call Fake Tapper, but now I don't do
I
that.
saw him at Whole Foods.
I don't
one
do
time.
that so much anymore. You did.
Mhm.
But I thought they were very even-handed, if you want to know the truth, during the debate. It was
I didn't feel like they like the
No,
moderate. I didn't feel like that they
were-
pushed a lot of
they had
stuff.
certain pressure on them to be even-handed. I think it's hard to not do that, but they were very even-handed, and it was a great debate, but a very important debate.
Well, after that, it seemed like suddenly everybody had been like, "Oh, Biden's fine." In America for like 18 months. Like my dad was really old when I was born. My dad was 70 when I was born, right?
Right.
So I don't like seeing senior citizens take advantage of,
Right.
right? I felt like that happened a lot when I was a kid. And so I think for me, it reflected on me like, it made me really angry because I was like, I know this guy's not well. It's not fair to pretend that he's well.
Yeah.
It's not fair to him because he doesn't know you're pretending, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it just seemed like the cruelest thing you could do. And then we're all kind of supposed to believe this thing that we know is not real. Our media is just saying this is real. And we're like, we're all just being.
I think this is exactly the kind of shit that makes people also like way more conspiratorial. I think this is exactly what people talk about when they're like, I don't trust mainstream media. But it's something that they could just like directly see with their own two fucking eyes. And then the media is like, nah, it's not like that. You know what I mean? Bernie did not get these questions. What? You think he was contentious with Bernie?
Gaslit as human.
He was literally just as nice, if not nicer to Bernie.
About something that's like moral. Like this is a human man. This is somebody's grandfather. And then they just disappear. He just disappears. And suddenly it's like
It was a coup.
Kamala is the one that went in. What do you think happened in the back rooms there? Because that almost was overnight that happened.
I know what happened, and you're not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to be probably constitutional. She got no votes.
What are you talking about? Bro. It's not constitutional. Like, what are you? Bro, it's not like Joe Biden is dead. They didn't kill him. He's around. He's the one who endorsed Kamala Harris. He's still running around talking about how he wants Kamala Harris to be president. Fuck you mean? He chose Kamala Harris as his VP, bro. Like, that's exactly how this is supposed to happen. There is no, what? He's like, it's illegal. It's just when something is not going my way, it's illegal. Unconstitutional.
He got 14 million votes. All of a sudden, they're telling him to get out, or they threatened him.
But who are
And
they
he is
when
an
they say
angry
that?
person. Well, I would say Schumer, Pelosi, and
I mean, bro got fucking upwards of 80 million votes, and you still didn't consider him to be the real winner for fucking a year after the election. So, fuck you mean 14 million votes?
numerous other people. The heads of the Democrat Party.
Yeah. Thugs.
And they did. They threatened him violently, I think. And he
You
didn't
think
want to
they
get out.
really
Remember, he said,
No. Bro. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi was like, I'm going to suffocate you with my titties if you don't fucking drop out.
that only God will get me out, right? Only God will get me.
Somebody dressed up like God and just chased him out of there.
Yeah, and what happened is they went to him and they said, this was after the debate. Now, if he didn't have the debate, he would still be running.
Yeah. So they set him up. They knew they were going to pull him.
That I don't know. I mean, he had his debate. Maybe he wanted to. I heard he didn't. I heard they offered me things that I would never accept, and I accepted them. They said CNN. They said Jake Tapper, Dana Bash. They said all things that I could not take, and I accepted all of them. And, look, it was a good debate for me. It wasn't a good debate for him. I think he'd still be running right now. You wouldn't have her. She was one of the most disrespected people in the whole country. She was a failed vice president. She was the most...
My ideology order was not delivered completely. Bro, reach out to the fucking distributor. What the fuck? It's like fucking calling out. It's like calling out LeBron when you order LeBron shoes from Nike and it didn't come in. Okay, good. Yeah, because let me tell you, okay, I deliberately didn't send you the full package. I wanted to steal from you.
She was considered the worst vice president in the history of our country. She had no chance. If you go back 6 weeks, they were saying how bad she was, and they wanted to choose from 11 different people.
Do you feel?
I thought that's what they were going to have.
Oh, you thought that's really good. Well, that would have seemed more democratic, I think.
They wanted to be politically correct, and they chose her.
I feel like
What?
it would have seemed more. But dude, I got so angry when they.
Wait, does he mean like when Joe Biden chose her? Oh,
They sidetracked Bernie a few years ago. Or
Yeah.
that wasn't fair. It
Happened to Bernie twice.
yeah. He
You think about it.
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy. Yeah. 2016 and 22. He just got, it just wasn't cool. Like whatever you think, it's just like we have to be able to believe
Would
that.
you like Bernie? Are you friends with him or something?
No, I met him the other day. I
Was
like.
he's like, this is again. What the fuck was that? Oh, you want the phone? Okay, you need to do something if you want the phone. Oh my God, you guys are so cute. She's so cute. She's being so cute. You need to take this away and give it to and put this in the fridge. Can you please do that as well? Thank you. Trump is like being real here too. He's being genuine. You like that guy?
At the first time?
It was the first time.
Were you impressed by him?
Yeah.
One thing, he's still sharp, right?
Oh, yeah, he's still sharp.
He doesn't suffer from what Biden did.
No.
Mental dullness.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Mentally gone.
Biden is
Mentally
like,
gone.
he's somebody put a merry-go-round in his head, I heard. But that's, but they didn't plug it in. They didn't tell him.
Yeah, that's probably right.
But no, one thing I liked about Bernie, well, one of the things is the healthcare. I just feel like we spend so much money in different places and people are sick and the opioid epidemic. I just feel like, and the lower cost of drugs, those are things that
because I got insulin down and they took credit for it. But I got it down to $35. And I said, I hope I win because somebody's going to take credit. It takes a period of time before it kicks in statutorily. And I got it down to $35, which is a very low price. And they took credit for it, which is, now I'm taking credit because I'm talking to you.
well, yeah, if you did it, then you should be able to take credit for it.
I just watched her performance today. So she went out and.
Who, Kamala?
She lied about everything. She said, this Trump tax, that Trump tax, that Trump tax. He's going to tax this. He's going to tax all these different things. And I'm not going to tax them. She made it up.
Did you?
So Donald Trump insulin price caps is a policy that he pushed for. Okay. That is. Here it is. President Trump announces lower out-of-pocket insulin costs for Medicare seniors. Today, he did it partially for B or D, and Biden got full for both, right? Yes. But even then, Biden actually didn't lower it for anyone outside, though. This is still not a full-blown measure.
Represents the pacification of Gen Z and brain rot. A lot of people.
Okay. Biden and Trump are fighting to claim $35 credit. Fighting to claim fighting to claim credit for the $35 insulin. It was actually a pharma giant's idea. This is one of the funniest parts about this. Okay, it's like, no, dude, you didn't fucking a pharma giant did not actually personally come up with this idea. Get the fuck out of here. Was that your butler that took your plate away? Yeah, he suspiciously looks a lot like me. I don't know if you noticed. Isn't that weird? It's because I only enslave people who look very similar to me. My butler. It's nice though because Lamau Heimerat. Oh, okay. People not on Medicare have too long to live to deserve discount shit. Yeah, it's not happening. Would your butler also fix your car? Not really.
You know that for these company additives. So what can Moingers and on Theo
trying to get into politics and become more informed about it? Is Hasan a good commentator to watch? Yes.
Sign up today and get free hot rolls in your first order. Spelled M.
Oh my God, chatter, stop saying fucking no. You guys are such... Dude, I don't expect you to be ridiculous dick riders of mine, right? But please, every now and then be for real. There are so many fucking haters I have out there and they do not stop. They do not sleep. Okay. All they do is I know you're joking, right? I know you're joking. I know you're probably in a fucking state of panic. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break and you're fucking thinking to yourself oh, he's going to do a debate again. Okay. But you have to remember that there are literally fucking haters out there who are working round the goddamn clock trying to make me look bad to the uninitiated. There's a dude in the chat advocating to watch another person. There's literally people in the chat being like, yeah, don't watch them. Actually, there's like, this person is better. That person's better. Like, it's crazy, man. What is wrong with you? Dude, you got to stop reading all the negative comments today. You're hyper focusing on them more than normal. You're right.
Is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost with one of the...
Oh my God, how long is this? Holy shit.
Look, people in politics, many of them, not all of them, are really liars, but she's really a liar. She made up a series of lots of different taxes that Trump's going to charge you on clothing. He's going to charge you on this or that. And actually, she's the one... Your taxes are going to go up by 4 times. And if the Trump tax cuts, because I got the largest tax cuts ever, but they expire in a number of months, pretty soon, she has to be able to do something about it. And she's unwilling and incapable. I'll tell you what, if she's the worst vice president ever, he's the worst president ever.
Like, he should ask why. Like, what do you mean? But to be fair, that probably opens up another avenue for Trump to just like, just say a bunch of shit that's objectively not real. Say some stuff that is real that he himself also advanced. Because a lot of the stuff that like Republicans shit on the Democrats over, they do too. They do the same shit. Say Israel, what the fuck? No. Oh my God. Okay. Like, I know Chad is joking. But some of y'all's jokes today are just not landing, okay?
A deadly combination. And we have a country where the borders are bad, where the world is blowing up. You look at Israel, you look at Ukraine, you look at all the different things that are happening.
Oh, yeah.
She has no clue. And you know what I say about her? Why don't you do it? You know, she complains about everything. She's been there for 3.5 years. Why don't you do it? All you have to do is say, why don't you do it? Why didn't you fix it? You could fix it right now. Don't, do whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And she won't talk to you, and she won't talk to anybody. She won't be interviewed.
She's welcome to come on. I would love to get to talk to her.
I'm sure she'd be very exciting. Actually, you could make her exciting, probably.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody said she's a good roller skater. That's what I heard, which is crazy.
That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're gonna wrap it up soon. Okay,
Yeah,
is that what you're saying? Okay, done. Sorry. Speaking of Kamala and speaking of the border, we had 2 Border Patrol agents that came on in the past 2 years, right? Because we wanted to learn about it from people that are.
Oh my God, bro. Dude, this is it. This is what I mean. It's like, bro, talk to a person who's an undocumented migrant or an advocate. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck are you asking the goddamn pigs how they feel about a thing that their job requires them to lie about? You know what I mean? Like, that's what's crazy, bro. You wouldn't have a fucking healthcare pharmaceutical executive on to talk about how insurance is sweet, So why the fuck are you talking to a goddamn border agent, a border patrol agent, about like how fucking Latinos are, coming into the country with fentanyl in their ass cracks and doing rapes? This shit pisses me off so much. Talk to a fucking immigration lawyer, man, or an activist or some shit. Yeah, talk to a house owner about socialism, dude. Fucking do it. Talk to a house owner about socialism. Socialism is when everybody have a house, okay? That's socialism. Socialism is when 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour, you all avoid it. That's socialism. Okay, how do you do that? By subscribing. You get gifted subs, that's a socialism. You have $5 or $6 in your pocket and you subscribe to avoid the ads, that's socialism. I didn't run it. I forgot to run it. I did the segue already, but I forgot to run it. I'm running it now. Okay, calm down. I'm running it now. Double segue time. Double jeopardy.
Are there on the ground. And one of the things that we found out was a lot of times they keep arresting the same people because the people that are coming in illegally aren't being prosecuted. That's one of the biggest problems they were saying. What can we do differently to make things safe at the border? It's the fact that a family can't.
I work with SZA. You want her on the pod? That'd be phenomenal. I don't think you're actually... Bro, why do you always read my dumbest chats? I'm assuming this was a bait, right? Like you were trying to bait me. Like I just don't think you actually work with SZA. It's all right though. No, I can't tell. Not a bait. What a question. Chatters, and not just this person, but all of you. If you are working with like celebrities, yeah, I would love to have them on the pod. Why the fuck wouldn't I? Of course, I would love that.
A father can't sleep at night because he doesn't know who's going through his yard or going through it. It's just not fair. It's not what you sign up for when you're an American. What are you going to do differently?
So the borders, well, I did it. We had the best border.
Oh, the wall, they should have kept it. I agree.
We had the wall built. We had more going to come long beyond what I promised. I built hundreds of miles of wall, and it worked. Walls work. Walls and wheels. I say it all the time. Two
Walls
things,
and
they
wheels.
never get obsolete.
Well,
wheels and walls.
Well, they also supplied infrastructure. Like, people don't understand, the wall also was a place where Border Patrol agents could go to get water, to get food, to rest. It provided like a shelter out there as well.
It worked.
Hey, yo, I'm dying, dude. This is so... To be fair, aren't border control agents a necessary function to protect the country, even if we could be more open to immigrants, like police for borders? The only border patrol agent you need is a motherfucker who just rubber stamps you into the country, okay? Not the way that we... Not the way that we currently have the Border Patrol operate. Hasan, where'd you get that jacket? Please, I want it. It's a ASOS jacket, ASOS, from like 10 years ago. Okay. What about the cartels and all that? Great question. If you want to shut down cartels, okay, you have to shut down the way that cartels exist and the way that they make money, which is decriminalizing drugs. You also need to stop, you need to stop giving Americans easy access to an arsenal that they can, give to the cartels in exchange for drugs. What a take. I know, it sounds so crazy. Chatter is going to be shocked when he finds out that other countries have done this and seen tremendous success. Portugal, Caralho, but also, of course, like 99% of the things that I argue for are just like tested and true things that happen around the world, but chatters are uninitiated to it. So they go, that's silly. What's next, bro? You talk about free healthcare? What a fucking dumb communist loser you are. Joe Rogan over Hasan. It's true. He's so much better than me. And so much smarter. That's why he was riding with DeSantis. Yeah, you got to have people make sure you aren't bringing invasive species. That's one thing for sure. Have you seen this? It's pinned in Hoscord. What is this? What the fuck is this, bro? honestly, like even without the poop sock, that just fucked my day up. You know what I mean? Like this is the one time. This is the one time where the poop sock made it better. Like, so it kind of defeats the purpose of the poop sock because it was like a moment of solace. Like honestly, I don't know how, but we arrived at a situation where the poop sock actually improved my mood, and seeing the poop sock improved my mood as opposed to all the other things that I just saw before the poop sock. Anna doesn't agree. She said Portugal only legalized it but kept the culture of bashing them. What? What does that even mean? We're talking about legislation. Like what in Portugal they have they legislated the culture? Like what are you talking about? Yeah, and also they're not legal. Exactly. I said decriminalization, chatter. That's why I used a very specific term. I did not say legalization. I said decriminalization.
Big.
Anna thinks drug use isn't stigmatized enough in America. Huh. Yeah. Just like homelessness is not stigmatized enough, and criminals, like, you know, the one thing we don't do enough of, dehumanizing convicts. Why are Anna spokespeople coming out of the woodwork right now? I don't fucking know.
In the middle of nowhere, they said it worked. The two that I've spoken to said it worked.
And I was going to do 200 miles of wall. We had it built, and to the spec.
At the risk of being roasted, what's the difference in legalizing and decriminalizing drugs? When you decriminalize a drug, like selling large quantities can still be illegal, but the consumption and the carrying of drugs is not. This allows, that is a good question, by the way. You will never be roasted for a good question like this. Okay. This allows people who are drug addicts to be treated as though they have an illness rather than prosecuted and put into prison. Okay. This also allows a lot of rehabilitation opportunities for people that are, experiencing tough times, right? Lamau, to be honest, that depends on your mood or how annoying chat is. No, usually when someone asks a good question like that, I will always answer. Okay. For example, legalization, on the other hand, would make it so that you can have like Pfizer selling the fucking heroin, which is not a good idea at all. Legalization allows major corporations to generate taxable revenue off of selling certain things and even marketing them, depending on how fucking insanely unrestricted the government is. Like, for example, in the United States of America, it's fucking terrifying. Like, imagine we already have like for example, we have the Galaxy gas, right? It's like a loophole. It's an up and coming drug that people are doing that's just like poking direct holes in their brain currently. I want my Bayer brand Fenty. Gimme. But how does that stop cartels? We'll be advocating for full legalization? What do you mean? It's still illegal to operate, like to fucking traffic and smuggle drugs over the border in that situation. It's just not illegal to have a certain amount of drugs on you so that you can get the adequate care that you need. Philip Morris cocaine merge will go incredibly hard. Hasan, what are you saying? Okay, that's actually, you're not wrong. But the cartels are getting the revenue if it's not legalized. That's not even correct. I'm saying that there still should be a prosecution of the people that are illegal. Chat, I'm not saying you should be able to like sell heroin legally, okay? I am not an advocate to sell heroin legally. Like, cartels are a black market. The goal is to tackle the black market. Ay. Is it a policy to prosecute the drug dealers and not the drug users? Well, let's think about it. What's more common? Drug dealers or drug users? If you have a finite amount of resources, none of that should be spent on prosecuting the users, because it shouldn't be a crime to be addicted to a substance. It is an illness, and it should be treated as such. That's precisely the reason why rich people have the capacity to do the same fucking drugs that poor people do, but then they get to go to rehab. Whereas when you're poor and you're doing drugs, you go to prison. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anyway, do you think cracking down hard on sellers but not users would lower usage? I feel like people need to cope with their crumbling material conditions, so they'll still find a way. No, I think you guys are not getting it. The point is that with decriminalization comes a better method of getting people off the drugs to begin with. Decriminalization and rehabilitation work hand in hand. You can't just do one and not the other. That's it. Prison is just really bad rehab. It's not rehab at all. There's hella drug use in prison. And a bunch of different problems on top of that.
Specifications of the Border Patrol. We were going to put it up, and it would take 3 weeks.
Like this, I feel like a lot of people in the chat have never been like addicted to a substance. Talk to some fucking sober people in the chat, and they will explain to you that like this is not how drug use works, man. It's giving people want to be homeless. How can you stop them from being homeless because they want to be homeless? Like, bro, nobody wants to be addicted to drugs. What are you talking about? If you've ever been addicted to a substance, you know that is hell, dude. What the fuck? It's like also a lifelong struggle in general. It's just not something that you can just drop and then pick back up. Like, that's not how this works. Like, nah, dude, people are just gonna be addicted to drugs anyway. It's like, no, dude, that's not how this works at all. Read my damn messages. I spent 3 years in prison, and Hasan is right. I was a heroin addict for 7 years. Ask me, God damn it. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other people who have also been in and out of prison in this community and are sober now. Congratulations, by the way, on your sobriety. Like, it's just like people think like, no, you don't understand. People are like, no, you don't understand. Like, everyone will do heroin. Dude, if they decriminalize it, everyone's gonna do it, man. The one thing that was stopping you from having like this unimaginably awful fucking thing brought on yourself is just that it's illegal. I've been clean for a long time, but the millisecond they legalize heroin, I'll be first in line. It's the immediate effect against the cartel that people aren't understanding the connection to is long-term, not short-term solution. What? Okay, maybe that one chatter. Maybe it's good to keep that shit illegal. That one chatter changed my opinion. Why not make it legal to sell drugs so less drugs are laced and you can buy them safely? Well, because, dude, okay, now we're reaching a very different point where I guess like I'm at odds with some people who are more woke than me on this issue. But like, I don't think people should do drugs, okay? Like, you know, recreationally to that degree. Like, we just talked about alcohol. Like, obviously the cat's out of the bag. People recreationally consume alcohol, but like that leads to a litany of problems. You know what I mean? There's other societal factors at play in how alcohol turns into a major issue. But like, but people inevitably do drugs. Yeah, they will. So we should make it as difficult as possible in terms of like people's access to it. I don't want prohibition because it's impossible. But overall, I don't think it's smart or good, especially when we talk about the fentanyl crisis, right? We talk about the fentanyl crisis, right? I mean, look behind me, dude. This is fucking nicotine right behind me. There's 2 towers of Zyn. I'm deeply addicted to nicotine and also caffeine. Now, what I'm trying to explain to you is that there's a litany of different drugs that we have actually opened up to the broader market for recreational use. They're nowhere near as bad as some of these others, but like the fentanyl crisis originally began not because like Mexicans were smuggling fentanyl over the border. It began because doctors were overprescribing it. Like that was literally the legal way that people were accessing this life-destroying drug. And the Sacklers and pharmaceutical corporations didn't just stop at that. They basically created think tanks for pain relief, lobbied the government, and created like entire fields of medicine that they manipulated specifically so that people would be like, oh, this is the only way to solve pain relief. Is the only way we can do it. Like down to the fucking charts that you see, the 1 to 10 equation that you see, like the smiley face versus the sad face that they show you sometimes at hospitals about like measuring your pain. Sacklers did that. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that like all of that stuff is bad and that there shouldn't be a fucking, the pain scale. That's not true. Am I wrong? I thought that was the Sacklers invented pain. Yeah, they did. And they told the doctors it was not addictive. Like, they lied. I don't think it's a good thing that we are, I don't think we should be, I think we should be disincentivizing people into recreationally using like super, super addictive substances. Please, more lectures on how nobody wants to be adding in front of a mountain of Zyn. The irony is, that's my methadone. You know what I mean? There is obviously a significantly more harmful substance out there called heroin that I used to do. Not heroin, but cigarettes, tobacco. So, like, this is me managing it to a certain degree. What's the difference between alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs? I think deadliness, addictiveness. Not heroin, chat. Chill. In a serious medical setting, fentanyl is extremely helpful. Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying like fucking make fentanyl illegal across the board. That's ridiculous. Law claiming to be on heroin. No, dude. Oh my God. It is a fucking analogy. Do you guys know how analogies work? Zyn or nicotine substitutes is a significantly less harmful version of a more addictive, more harmful product, tobacco. Okay? It's like a comparison between caffeine and fucking meth. Jesus Christ. Here's a pipeline for you. My mom crashes ATV, gets overprescribed oxy, gets addicted long-term to pain meds, resorts to heroin, ODs, gets brought back to life, gets put in jail, out of hospital. She's out now. Yeah. I mainly disagree because people will do anything. It's better to make it safer, not harder. People will still skydive even if they had to make their own parachute. Yeah, I mean, that's heavily regulated though, ultimately. Like skydiving and shit. Like in comparison, and also that's a self-selecting thing that you can do and nowhere near as deadly. Skydiving is nowhere near as deadly and as easily accessible as fentanyl. I think the point is, if fentanyl was over the counter, okay, if fentanyl was over the counter and as easily accessible as alcohol, we would be in a fucking really bad predicament. Like, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier when we were having a conversation about alcohol. Alcohol kills more than ODs on fent or opiates in general, but obviously in comparison to like the user base, fentanyl obviously is much more deadly than alcohol, not in totality, but for per capita usage. My life experiences caused me to agree with you.
Weeks to put it up. That's an additional 200 miles to fill up certain areas that, when you make the wall, then all of a sudden they start coming through other areas. We had it wired and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't put it up. And I realized they wanted open borders. Kamala wants open borders. She's going to have open borders. We'll have 50, 60 million people because of them.
Sick.
We have over 20 million people, in my opinion, right now that came into our country. Many come from prisons, jail.
Hail Satan, you're doing a slippery slope by resorting to heroin and meth in your arguments. Why not legalize MDMA, weed, ket, etc.? Oh my God. Dude, any substance that's like incredibly addictive, introducing that to the regular consumer base is not a good idea. Okay. If you were to ask, like, should MDMA treatments or should ketamine therapy be legalized, then yeah, I'm on board with that. Okay. But that's insane. Hail Satan. Like, and we're not even talking about weed in general. Don't get in the drug discourse. It has too much in it. I know. Comparing Zyn to tobacco is not like comparing caffeine to meth. It's comparing meth and speed. Wait, what? No. It is like comparing caffeine to meth. Like, nicotine is deeply addictive for sure, but nicotine side effects in general, especially depending on the different delivery mechanisms that exist out there. I'm not talking about like vaping and shit, but nicotine side effects are nowhere near as severe as fucking tobacco. Caffeine is also fucking deeply addictive.
Mental institutions, many terrorists. Do you know that other countries now, their crime rate is way down because they're sending all their criminals to us?
It's a party.
They're sending all of their criminals to us. And who would take this? Why is this a good thing? It's a horrible. She should be ashamed. And, you know, she was the border czar, too. He put her in charge. She,
you know, like it's so fucking addictive, dude. Heroin, cocaine, like, it's just, it's like off the chart, dude. Heroin is literally off the chart in terms of dependence. Even cocaine on average has a lower than 10% addiction rate, which is lower than alcohol. Yeah, I think cocaine has a higher physical harm as evidenced by this chart. And it lethals cartels in less than a year without question. Decriminalization is a half-ass measure, not even 1/16th ass at best. Legalization eliminates or hyper-reduced availability. I mean, if there is any sort of legalization of drugs, it has to be heavily restricted and heavily controlled. In terms of who gets to sell it, how they sell it, no marketing whatsoever. Like, there's no, like, the principle behind it is that I'm in favor of disincentivizing like newer drug users. You know what I mean? And people might get mad at me for saying that, but like, it's because some of these substances are insanely fucking addictive and also insanely fucking deadly. Like, that's it. Where would gooning be on the map? Yeah, I'm noticing that gooning is not on the map, nor is porn addiction, which, you know, looking at like the internet, at least, they consider that to be akin to heroin. So, surprise. But not surprised, mushrooms isn't on that chart. Isn't that addicting? No, I don't think mushrooms are addicting. I mean, that's anecdotal, actually. I don't fucking know. But I don't think they are. Mushrooms are the opposite of addicting. I mean, I like mushrooms, but I don't think that. I think maybe part of the reason why I like it is because they're not addictive at all. Especially if you take too much, then they're the opposite. It's quite tricky to be addicted to hallucinogens, wears out the mind. By that logic, LSD isn't addictive either. I don't think LSD is I don't think LSD is addictive. Like, it's not. It's just, it can be harmful, I think. Chat is confusing intensity of the substance to addictive dependence. It feels like. The problem is with a lot of these drugs, I think like the bigger problem is if you have like undiagnosed mental health problems, they do have a capacity, even including marijuana, to exacerbate certain issues, especially if you're on a bunch of different drugs as well. Like that is a major problem in this situation. Like if you have any sort of like history of schizophrenia in your family, you shouldn't be doing any of these drugs, like at all, because it will fucking trigger that shit. It'll fuck you up. Why do you make fun of porn addictions? It's something I have struggled with since I was 16. I've had 3 psychiatrists, multiple SSRI, anxiety prescriptions, electroprostate shock therapy, and I still struggle with this to this day. That's not real. No, he's memeing, dude. Come on. There is no way he's shoving a fucking cattle prod in his asshole and stimulating his prostate. Nah, I think it's legit. No fucking shot. There ain't no way, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. This is some shit that you don't reveal in a fucking black site, dude, when they're torturing you. Like, they fucking black bag you, put you in a van. Federal agents fly you quickly with haste to Romania to a black site facility. They torture you. This is not something that you're revealing about yourself, okay, in the process. Stop. You're going to make his gooning worse. Chat, I know electroejaculation is real, okay? Stop linking penile vibratory stimulation. I know that that's a real thing, okay? We're not talking about whether that's a real a procedure. We know it's a real procedure. You want to know how we know it's a real procedure? Because I found out after the IDF revealed that it has a fucking goon squad, okay? We know that already. because we covered it after October 7. IDF came out and we're like, oh, you know, we have a semen extraction brigade, right? And we sometimes use like cattle prod, like electric shock therapy to fucking extract the semen out of the ball sack of a fallen soldier. Okay, so we know that already. It's just ridiculous to fucking say that about like as a part of, you know, your porn addiction. It's a part of your porn addiction therapy. Yeah, the goon platoon, that's real.
He was the worst border czar in the history of the world.
She's a roller skater. That's what somebody told me the other day.
She's terrible.
But what are you going to do? What's going to happen with the border when you're back?
We're going to seal the border, and I had it very well sealed. We had the most successful border in the history of our country. We're going to seal the border. We're going to finish up certain areas of the wall because they didn't do it. And we're going to have an unbelievable border. And we're going to spend a lot of time getting the criminals out. Look, we have murderers in our country now.
I don't think people should be allowed to be in our country if they're criminals.
Well, then you're going to be very unhappy to know that we have a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of murderers. We have people, drug dealers talking about drugs. It's not even believable that they'll do it. So what they've done is they've allowed murderers, people in prisons, people in jails, people in mental institutions, insane asylums, and terrorists to pour into our country by the hundreds of thousands. And they are in our country right now. And the country that brought them out said, if you ever come back, we're giving you the death penalty or we're going to kill you.
Well, in Brooklyn alone, there's a huge building that is housing just Haitian people. They're just housing.
Yeah, and I suspect they're all drug dealer, rapist, murderers, actually. Because Trump just said that, and I'm not going to fact check it. And I'm also scared of black people. So I'm just going to go along with this narrative now. What a wonderful conversation, dude. Yo, those are people, dude. Those are human beings. You know what I mean? Like, those are just regular fucking humans, dude. Like, trying to make a living, you know? And we're out here having this convo. We're out here having a conversation about them, about how, like, they're all actually criminals, dude. That's insane. Bro, this guy talked to Bernie Sanders like fucking last week. How is this possible? What a switch up.
And just wandering around Brooklyn all the time. My friends are telling me.
They have some rough people too, really rough people.
So you're
that he can just say this shit is exactly why the Biden bill and party messaging is so terrifying. Basically, we're conceding to the psycho narrative. Yeah. It's nuts. To quote Theo from an hour ago, some might be human, man. Yeah.
So if you get reelected to the board, you're going to continue that project.
No, the difference between him and Joe Rogan is that it would take one person to be like, hey, Theo, like, meet my friend. He's one of the Haitian migrants that you're talking about. Like, he's just a normal dude who wants to make a living. And he just wants like the proper paperwork so we can go participate in the American economy and try to achieve the American dream. And then I suspect that he would be like more understandable. Whereas I feel like Joe Rogan would act like he's understanding that point and then immediately forget it the next time he talks to a white supremacist that he definitely brought on a show on purpose. Like, that's why I always say charitability is the number one thing. Okay? Charitability is the number one thing, chat. If you talk to someone who is like genuinely curious, genuinely a charitable human being, like you can explain to them all of these concepts in a way that makes sense. But the inverse of that is also true. When someone is like open-minded, you could have like a guy like this come out and just be like, yeah, they're all fucking rapists, Theo. I'm telling you. And he'd be like, yeah, I know, dog. That's crazy. What? Like, that's it. Too many people call that gullible. No, dude, it's not just like being gullible. Hasan has been resurrected many times. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to pain. What the fuck does that even mean, dude?
Well, I had
We're going to make sure it's safe.
We had it. We had the safest border and the best border in the history of our country. And now it's a disaster.
Somebody invited Biden to the border and they said he went to a Borders Books, dude. And I was like, that's.
Well, they invited her and she went to a place that doesn't have a problem, you know. She's a disaster. She is the worst vice president. It's the worst administration in the history of our country. She's a part of it. And she won't do an interview. She would never do an interview like this. She won't do an interview.
I want to learn more about her.
Well, I think you should ask her to come on.
Tell Barron I said thanks, man.
Good.
Yeah.
He's a big fan.
I hope to get to meet him someday. He seems like a neat kid.
Yeah, he is. He's great.
Is he? Yeah. And yeah, thank you for your time. I can't believe that I got to be able to sit down with you. I'm grateful to Dana White as well for setting this up. And I just appreciate you giving me your time today, Donald Trump.
Thank you so much. And good luck with your situation.
Yes,
You're going to do it. You beat it, right? You beat it. Good luck with it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much.
Now I'm just floating